Today we're talking about 3 things that you must be thinking about if you're doing a design and installation project here in Southwest Florida. When you get into a project, have you ever had a house project before where you get going and before you know it, you're just kind of like building piece on piece on piece and it all just looks pasted together and it doesn't look like there was intention and design and thought process to it? That is the type of things we want to keep you from doing, and we want to save that pain. We want to make it a smooth, seamless project. But in that design process, there's 3 things that really pop up that can totally change the aspect of your home. And we're going to go over those because these add a lot of value and what the difference is one versus the other. So first and foremost, when we're doing a design and installation project, I like to know what the bed material is going to be. That being mulch or rock. Now there's a lot of things that people think on rock versus mulch. One is going to have no weeds. One's going to be a weed problem. That's truly not the case, and I have a whole separate video about that. One is going to be longer lasting and is going to not have to get replaced every year, and one's going to require a lot more maintenance. Mulch has to be refreshed all the time. It doesn't require landscape fabric because it does get refreshed all the time, so you're not worried about losing it, right? Where rock, a lot of people think there are no weeds because there is landscape fabric. In fact, the landscape fabric is purely there for soil separation fabric to keep you from losing the rock into the soil and all getting mixed together and it degrading what you have, right? It might help some with weeds, but weeds are still going to germinate in rocks just from natural dirt, natural seed drop from birds, from wind, all these natural occurrences of that, and just dust on the rock is enough soil to germinate weeds. So all that is going to require maintenance. One just makes it where you don't have to work on it all the time. Another big benefit about rock is if you're in an area where you're really worried about water washing it away, rock is not going to flood. And when the beds flood, it's not going to all float out. So that's number one, because that really changes the aspect of your home. And some people, I've seen designs where people put rock and mulch next to each other. You just want to think, I'm trying to bring up pain points. You just want to think about how hard that could be to maintain and how much water could mix that together and how much work is that going to be, because things can be beautiful, but do we want, how much do we want to spend to keep it looking beautiful is something you really want to think about when you're in that design phase that we want to go over, and we try to bring the problems to you because it's the problems that people don't foresee because they're not always working with these certain materials that want you to at least know about to be able to make the best decision on. Next is going to be, what do you edge that bed with, right? Is it going to be a mulch bed where there's a natural edge, meaning the sod is the bed edging? Or is it going to be rock where some people do a natural edge, but I do not suggest that. I always push to do some kind of edge, because rock, there's just too much of a chance that on that natural edge, you have to maintain that with a weed eater or a trimmer. And when that trimmer is on edge, it can throw rocks up. That's opportunity to hurt people, to break glass on cars and houses. It's problems waiting to happen. It's rock that gets kicked out in the yard that then gets picked up by a mower and then does one of those few things I've already mentioned. It can be very problematic. And that's why I always push to, if it's a landscape bed with rock, one of these 3 options: curbing, aluminum edging, vinyl, steel edging. I guess 4 options. One of those is going to really define the bed. And so that's the next decision. What type of bed edging do you want to have to maintain the bed? Even in mulch, some kind of defined permanent edge is going to be easier to maintain. Now, as far as cost, it's going to be the most cost effective is the natural edge. Just up from there is aluminum and vinyl, only differing very slightly. And just up from there is curbing, right? And then if you want to take curbing to another level, there's natural hand carved curbing, which is way out there, way more expensive, but super beautiful. Now, the difference between aluminum and vinyl and curbing is maybe a couple dollars a foot. It's not much at all, because there's so much labor in digging, trenching, installing steel or vinyl edging. And so from a price standpoint, now you get the spread of what those are. And a lot of times I push people towards curbing because that wider depth of the curbing, meaning depth from front of the yard to the bed, is going to provide more protection from material getting out of the bed and weeds and or grass chasing into the bed. And it gives you that nice piece to edge along so you can keep the bed super clean. Where aluminum's super thin and vinyl's very thin, much less defined edge and much easier to have material crossover. We're trying to make things easier to maintain. That's kind of our goal. So that's some other things to think about. That's step 2. And now finally, you invest all this time and money to see it look beautiful during the day. The other piece that you have to think about, because it is so easy to install at this time and the most cost effective, is landscape lighting. Landscape lighting or no landscape lighting on your project. I truly believe from the bottom of my heart, the value there for lighting is astronomical because it adds safety, it adds usability of an area, it adds so many things, not just safety of you can see maybe your backyard to make sure no one's in it because it's super, super dark, but safety of their steps or safety of there's an area where walking in the dark could be dangerous. So there's different levels of what it can add to your property. So having landscape lighting versus no landscape lighting does all those things, but it does one more piece. You buy all of this and make this big investment for your home to look beautiful, and your home looks beautiful even without the lights. But when you do the lights, now it's not going to just be beautiful, that landscaping during the day, it's going to be beautiful during the night. And I can't explain to you the look of landscape lights and what they can do. And these are low voltage LED, lifetime warranty fixtures, not solar that goes dim very quick. This is a very controlled, well-designed, artistic look where you can use uplights for palms. You can use uplights to do wall washes and create depth on your home and tie everything together from a very scenic view from the street or from whatever area of your yard you're looking at your home from. You can use path lights to warm up entryway. You can use pendant lights to exit certain areas where maybe there's a pergola or there's something overhead. There's so much you can do with lighting to give that final tie together of the whole project. So those are the 3 things I really like people to think about is, are they using rock versus mulch? Which one do you want? What kind of edging do we want from a maybe cost perspective or ease of maintenance? And finally, we did all this work to make sure it's awesome. Do we want to be able to see it all day and all night and have it? Honestly, I think they look even better at night when there's lights than they ever can during the day, because that night light is something out of this world. I can't explain it to you until you go see it or you see it on your own home. And that's the piece that is really the selling point, and the part I love the most is when it's on your own home, it's special. And it really makes it, when you come back from that date with your spouse or bringing your kids home or just showing up to your home because it's your first home and you see that, you're like, in the evening, you're like, wow, I'm really proud of this. So that's one of our favorite services. Any of this stuff is things that you would want our help with figuring out what's best, giving you all of the problems that come with some of these things so you get to make the best decision. We're here to help, and we look forward to making an amazing project at your home for you.